Anyway, hey, it is time for the Black Creative Spotlight, which this week is shining on Sissy Miller. Sissy is an actor, model, YouTuber and content creator, the founder of BST Life, a Bristol blog and Bristol Collective FB group, that's Facebook, kids, which now has nearly 1,000 members. His new podcast on mental health and COVID is one to watch out for.
So, Sissy, you're a man of many talents. Could you give me a brief overview of the creative work you do in Bristol?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing and the biggest thing I'm kind of working on at the moment, it's called BST Life or Bristol Life. It's something that I created and I'm basically running it with my best mate. The general idea of it is to kind of bring together creatives of all different kinds of backgrounds and kind of allow them to be able to have a space where they can communicate, connect, and then kind of create any kind of awesome work together onward from that, as well as showcasing the work of well-known artists and creatives, as well as lesser-known artists and creatives. But into the future, the idea is to get more kind of like events going on and more of like a almost, how do I say it, like a real presence in Bristol with the communities around us, basically.
Nice, that's so cool. So why did you start the Bristol Life blog? What was your reasoning for it?
Well, I mean, I think it's quite clear that there's a real kind of like creative awakening happening in the whole world at the moment. But myself personally, I've been really lucky to meet loads of different kinds of creators from different kinds of backgrounds, as I said. And the kind of person I am, I like to kind of see how, I've always liked to match people up, if you know what I mean. So I might talk to an artist and I'll be like, yo, your work's really cool. And I might talk to a musician, I'll be like, yo, your work's really cool. And I really like to see how dynamics work when you put them together. And then it just made sense to kind of bring it into a much wider scale. I think Bristol's got loads of creative talent already, insane amounts of creative talent, and I'd love to see more of that out in Bristol, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I checked out your like portfolio of work, and you're doing quite a lot of different things. So you also, so you act and model, and you're a YouTuber, and you do all these different things. So what kind of drove you to be a man of many talents, and how did you get into these different things, I guess?
Well, you know, I think it all probably started from college, from when I finished college, and even going up through the education system. I always kind of felt like it just wasn't right for me. I could never really do the things that I wanted to do, or I had to do something else to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. And then it got to a certain point, after I think my second year of college, I decided, well, let me just kind of forge my own kind of path. I left all 9-to-5 work that I was doing and just put all of my time and mental energy into the things that I wanted to do. And it's really nice because I've now come to terms with the fact that I can only really enjoy life if I'm living life on my own time and my own terms. And that way I can follow my interest into anything and everything that I want to do. And as you can see, it ended up meaning that I do everything.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I kind of done the same thing. So I did events. I used to anyway, before COVID, and kind of I graduated last year, and it was just like one of those moments where you kind of realize that like if you don't change and do different things, then you're never going to be able to do anything. So being able to do multiple things is just so important, I think, especially, you know, like starting a career in this world, you know. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's so cool.
It's really cool that you were doing doing like an event course. I literally just finished an event producing course at the station in Bristol, in the centre of Bristol. And
oh, nice.
It's absolutely amazing. Honestly, being able to like teach yourself or learn in any kind of way about things like, for example, event producing, which is something that's massive, especially with Bristol now. When lockdown closes, I'd love to be able to see more and more kind of events kind of popping off. And seeing that there are people doing that in Bristol, it's wicked.
It's true. Like we're all waiting for June, aren't we? It's going to be a crazy, crazy month. They say it's going to be the roaring 20s again. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Whatever it will be, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, nice. So I kind of wanted to talk about your YouTubing, especially. I kind of checked out your channel, and I saw that you had like loads and loads of views. Like, so how did you like build that up, and how is it being a YouTuber? What's it like?
Well, it's it's a strange time to be a YouTuber. I think there's always been talk about, oh, you can't do YouTube now, you can't do YouTube now. Other than using Google Ads to kind of like bulk it up a little bit, a lot of it has just been community support. A lot of people have been sharing a lot of my work, and I even walk past people and they're like, oh, you're DC, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
But, yeah, a lot of it has just been a massive, massive support from Bristol, and I haven't even gotten everybody on it yet. And I do things like BSDL Life documentaries, which is something I've recently got into. As we were talking about earlier on about BSDL Life, I'm wanting to do like a bit of a mini documentary going into the lives of individual creators, artists, general just creatives in general, and kind of get their story, where they came from, because there's something that everybody can learn from that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So you've recently started up a visual podcast with Ashley Russell, a professional therapist. What are your hopes for this podcast as we're coming out of lockdown?
More than anything, especially with the Ashley one, it is very much like a therapist session podcast, if you get what I'm saying. So because he's a professional therapist, that allows me to be able to kind of drop in questions that other people that are listening might find value from, especially with lockdown coming to a close now. And the period through lockdown, I know a lot of people kind of had to look at themselves and the people around them in a different way that they maybe weren't used to. And that leaves a lot of questions and thoughts in your head. So, and not everybody had access to a therapist or can't or doesn't feel comfortable to go and seek out that kind of help. So this is kind of like a indirect way that people can almost get a bit of healing and that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting and so true as well. Like, I guess with lockdown, you kind of, the people that you're living with, you've kind of got to know them quite a lot, and you kind of got to know the whole mundane, banality of life, and everyone's a bit down. And it's going to be quite a strange thing to kind of go from this kind of structure that we're living in now back to real life, I guess.
Yeah. It is definitely a strange time, but anything that I can kind of help other people out.
Yeah, no, nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been really interesting. And I think as we started this new Black Creative Spotlight, it's been really nice to talk to different Black creatives all around Bristol and seeing what they've been getting up to. So yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I guess, is there any way that our listeners can explore and follow your story as you continue on in Bristol?
Well, first of all, my Instagram page is TR_MLM, the real Manlike Miller. But after that, there's obviously the BSDL Life page, which is literally just BSDL_Life. And then after that, the Bristol Creative Network. Those are both on Facebook. Just search them in, and you can get to those. The YouTube channel is just Manlike Miller, all one word. On there, you'll find podcasts, blogs.
Thank you very much to Esther and to Sissy for being on this week's Black Creative Spotlight. Very great to hear your story. Don't forget, if you want to get involved with this new segment on Culture Shock, which is providing a much needed spotlight on Black creativity within Bristol, get involved by emailing us hello@gwenwatson.com, or you can DM me on Twitter @GwenWatsonVoice.